I want to show you a unique feature to American skylines so that when you're on your next road trip, whether it's a big city or small to moderate sized one, you'll be able to annoyingly point it out to your friends. And here's the thing. Most city skylines in America have flat horizontal expanse punctuated by a dense and vertical downtown. Now, European cities do have taller buildings, but they aren't usually clustered in one main area. In fact, when I was in Europe and I used the term downtown, it didn't make sense to most people. And this is also going to explain why the tallest skyscraper in America might be happening in Oklahoma City, or why your small to medium-sized city are building these huge multi-million-dollar, seemingly out-of-touch apartment complexes. Let's talk about typical city development. What you usually have is a small settlement of people that place small bets on their community that, as they pay off, generally intensify incrementally over time, so that a mature city develops and has everything that it needs all in one smaller area. And then what happens, if the city begins to expand beyond that, you'll sort of see this duplication. So that whether you live in the newer development or the older development, within a 15-minute radius, like a 15-minute walk of your house, you have everything that you need to live and get by. And you may choose to patronize a restaurant that you prefer in this other neighborhood, and this economic cross-pollination is good. It's quite unnecessary. But in America, over the last 80 to 90 years, what we've done is restrict the type of development that could happen like this, so that duplication can't happen. What happens to this area is it becomes more intense and grows taller. And our restrictive land use policies mean we have a sort of horizontal expansion, or something known as suburban sprawl. Now, it's worth pointing out that both this neighborhood and this neighborhood, economically self-sufficient, raises enough taxes to afford its infrastructure. But in this situation, these areas do not provide enough taxes and need to be subsidized by this area. But while this horizontal overexpansion is almost unlimited, there's only so much you can do to develop a downtown that's restricted. So that at some point, almost every American city has this sort of breaking point where it cannot afford its infrastructure anymore. This is why your roads are crumbling. Kunstler, in his book, The Geography of Nowhere, points out that 80% of everything that's been built in America has been built in the last 80 to 90 years. That means we've built most of our buildings in this sort of artificially imposed state where we don't allow expansion to happen naturally. The city of Nashville is 13 times the land as the city of Barcelona while having a similar size population. It's a lot of this right here. What does it have to do with these big buildings? Remember when I was talking about this incremental intensification? What we see in America is sudden intensification. We've put up a dam, we've held back the waters until the problem becomes so big we have to do something about it, and we have these huge out-of-touch developments. Developments so big, they're only taken on by really big developers and construction companies that might not only not live in the neighborhood, they might not live in the city or even the state that they're building this. Is to say they care very little about what's going on around it. They just want this big, bold bet that's going to pay off handsomely for them. Now, I'm not actively rooting against this. I think these 600 units are better than 600 single-family homes, destroying natural resources or agricultural land in the county. This is also being built with a car-centric mindset with 900 plus parking spots. What's that going to do to congestion on these streets or safety for pedestrians or cyclists in this area? The first step we need to take is some sort of self-determination given to neighborhoods by relaxing the zoning restrictions or allowing upzoning to happen. This is why a moderately wealthy homeowner in the area that has some equity in their house that wants to invest something, or a moderately wealthy person that might want to build like a small courtyard apartments, are somewhat out of touch compared to someone who's living below the poverty level. They're a lot more in tune with that neighborhood than some millionaire developer from outside the city or billionaire developer from outside the state. What's more bets being placed and paid off by small local developers is more money inside that local economy. Again, it feels weird for me to be speaking out against a dense housing development in the city. This almost feels like a game plan that's fully reliant on chucking Hail Marys constantly, rather than focusing on the fundamentals. City or community will show you what it wants, just allow it to do so. When you're on your road trip and seeing something that looks like this as you drive by Denver, you can point out that this is sort of an artificial development pattern as a result of restricted land use and not some increased sense of liberty or free market.